G'day, it's Abby Dave, and this is day 2 in building applications, micro apps using Replit. And what we're going to be doing today is looking at the second application in the series. And yesterday what we did was we built this application, which is managing all the different apps that I want to build over 30 days. So the next one we're going to do is the video recording named sequence application. It's in progress. But let's have a quick look at what we did yesterday. So if we clear the statuses, we can see that we've got this little application where we can import information for different apps that we want to build. Set the status, so the one we're looking at right now has currently been built. And from there, we've got concepts like categories, etc. So if we look at the things that are an idea, or is it a utility? We've got the tool that we're looking at right now. We've got the one that we're about to do. It's currently in progress, and I've got a couple of new ones coming down the line. So what is it? Build your own smart video file name system. So let's just have a quick look at the reference card that I set up. So the idea of the application that we're doing today is for content creators, or it's for any content creator, video creation expert. But the skills that I'm demonstrating, or basically learning, because this is not me showing you how to do things, this is you going with me through the process. I document as I go, is how can you create a custom tool to solve one of your business workflows. And one of the big business workflow problems I have is, how do I name the recordings in my folder when I hit save? So what we're going to do here is look at the issue of messy file names. We're going to build up a requirements document, because what I'd love to be able to do is head over to the agent part of Replit, which is over here on the right. And I just want to type in one prompt and have it build the entire application. It doesn't always work, but that's the goal. So we'll be building it, and then we'll do a little bit of a recap and think about the next project idea. Now I'm going to give you mainly because I think it makes sense with this particular application, I'm going to show you the next project idea. And what we'll do is we'll just jump down to a VS Code view for a second. And what I've got here in front of us is a list of applications that are in that tool we just did, and I'm just going to add one. It's called the YouTube chapter builder. And the reason I think this one is important is because when you're naming your files for a video, which is what we're going to do today, it's important that hopefully you can automatically build chapters for YouTube descriptions. So what I'm going to do is head over to our application, just demonstrate what happens when we import everything. So currently I'm hoping to see a new item here. Now sometimes this bugs out, so if we have problems, I may abandon this, but we'll see what happens. So we'll just paste it in. And what's happening is the new value is video chapter builder. It's a utility. Now if we go down to utilities, we now have a fifth one. It's that one. So tomorrow I'll probably change it to in progress, or it'll happen later in the month. We'll just see what happens. Okie doke. Let's go back to here. Actually, let's go to a different screen. We'll go to the Finder. Or where is my Finder? Folders. There we go. Okay. Let's see what we got going on here. Now, why do I have two windows being shown? That's interesting. Can we just delete one? Is that okay? Good. So here's what we're working with today. We'll delete that one because it's not useful, and we will delete that one because it's not useful, and we will come over to Livestream Planner. And this is a video I did recently. And in this video, there are a bunch of recordings, and this is what we would like to do today. So whenever I record a video, I'm using Ecamm Live. There'll be a link in the description, but you could be using OBS, you could be using Camtasia. And one of the problems that happens when you record parts of a video with these tools is that they bring things down as a timestamp. In fact, let's go have a look at that for a second. So the video that we're watching right now, will end up in this folder, and I've already done a proof of concept that it records, and we can see it right here. So when I tested a few seconds of footage, it created a file, and we can see that it's called Ecamm Live, recording on the date and time. So I did this a couple of hours ago, I think. Now, when I record videos, they end up in this folder, in that sort of format. But what I want to do is see them named correctly. And I've got this sequence that I use. So chapter 1, the first part of chapter 1 is the intro. Chapter 1, the second part of the intro is really what chapters are in there. And if this was done correctly, this would have been named as intro.chapters, because the actual chapter name is intro. But there's a section within the intro where I just want to tell people about the chapters that are coming up. Then after that, I move into a scenario, and I like to record things in segments. I don't use a teleprompter, but I also don't record too many mistakes. I try to do things in small batches and get it right. And then at the end, I join all my videos together. Now, the reason this is also important to understand is that if you want to build your own application, and we are going to build the application that name these today, you might actually have a different workflow. And if you have a different workflow, you will want to build the application slightly different. But this is how we're going to do it, because this is how I use it. So at the end of recording a long video, in this case, I've got about 40 odd files, 3.5 gigabytes of data, and I join them all together in a product called Gling. Gling is an AI video editor. Again, I'll put a link down below for that. So let's move into it. So I think what we now need to do is pop on over to our reference card, where I've been keeping a whole lot of information in a chat window about what we want to build. And I'll put the YouTube description there, but let's just go. Can you give me the detailed fact sheet again about what application I actually decided we were going to build? And so this is hopefully going to give me the right information. Okay, this is not correct. So let's scroll all the way up to before I started this workflow. So we're here. Sorry about that. I should have got this prepared. So what happens when I'm doing workflows is I'll figure out the application I want to build, and it's right here. And then I go and plan the live stream, and everything going on here is the live stream planning. And I know that the format that it's produced here is actually based on my live stream planning. No, that is not correct. This is the planning. The response I wanted was as follows. And I'll just say yay, because I don't actually want it to think it's meant to do anything more. So we'll paste all this in, and we'll see the application that I want to build, and we'll just talk through it slightly. So actually, show me the brief. Of course, I said say yay, and it did that. Bummer. No. Reply with the following. Okay, so I have a lot of experience in prompt engineering, and still ChatGPT can come into problems. And it's basically, I was testing out an idea this morning, and the idea is that I usually keep these two chats separate. I keep the requirements that I'm trying to build separate from the video planning, and I didn't do it. And I thought, I wonder whether this would work okay. And the answer is no, it won't work okay, because it kept trying to mix the two concepts in. All I wanted at this point was to know about this information. But anyway, let's move into what we're actually trying to build today. So an application designed to build structured file names for video recording segments. Now, can we see the folder at the same time? Yes, we can. So here they are. Recordings of intros, intro with a metadata of chapters. Scenario, benefit with a metadata of 1, 2 benefits with or the second benefit with 2 sections named 2. And we've got different concepts going down here. So what I need is an automated file name generator. That's the application we're building. Creates file names in the format chapter, part, label, metadata. So when we look at, say, let's just find a new one. We'll go here. The chapter is number 6, part 1. The actual label would be scenario 2. Actually, in this case, it'd probably be the whole thing. Scenario 2, Project Theodore. But it could be that the label is scenario 2 and the metadata is Project Theodore. And it's up to me what field I'm going to use for that. Where I usually love using metadata is just indicating that this part of the video might actually have a call to action in it. That can be really useful. And the reason this becomes useful as a video content creator is that that's a part of the video where you actually want to go and add some extra graphics that are not part of the normal recording in my scenario. Now, what we need to do in the application is maintain a list of applications. We need to be able to do a bulk update on the actual label name. So if I don't like scenario 1, I might want to call it cool scenario, but I've got to change it in bulk across multiple areas. What I want to do is that as a new name comes through the application, I just want it to live in my clipboard, because then I can come over and just change the file name. So the application we're building is in the web, and the files we're using are on the desktop. So I don't have a way of easily connecting the two concepts together without building a more complex application. So I've decided that I only want to use the clipboard to get the next name. Now, I don't want to actually have to press a button. I want to have an auto clip mode thing on. So as soon as it comes up with one, it should end up in the clipboard. But I might actually have information in the clipboard that I want, so I should be able to toggle that feature off. And I want to make sure that the bulk change doesn't trigger auto copy, because the clipboard can only deal with one piece of information anyway, so it doesn't make any sense. I've also stated that a transcript field would be useful, and the reason for this, if you're a content creator, you realize that there's a lot of rich information in what you record. So I think as an example, let's just pop in over here for a second. You can see here in this particular video, there's a green screen behind me, and what I like to do, if I just head over to Leonardo, and we'll pop in here, is I like to generate B-roll automatically. So how can we do that with this? We go to the library and we scroll down quite a way, because I've been doing a lot of other stuff, and quite often, like this would have been talking about Appy Dave in like and subscribe. So this would have been part of the outro, these sorts of images along here. And where I really want them to show up is just in this green area right here. So what I would love as part of my video recording process is that if the video ends up on the disk like it does, it automatically gets the transcript, and then we're going to make it available in this transcript field. And with it there, I can then do new stuff like generate the prompts that we just saw for the video. So you can, if we look here, each of the prompts for this, whatever's in there, is actually built off a part of a transcript. So anything else we need to do? Ensure consistent, well, we've got the purposes. Now, yesterday in the first video in the series where we built the first application, what I did was I had a requirements document. So if we come back to here, much of this application, the way you see it, was built off the very first prompt. So it had concepts like importing all the data for the application. It had concepts like categories. All of this got built automatically. The bulk import. Now, it still took me a few iterations in the video and maybe about 10 afterwards to actually get it to the point where it is right now. And there are bugs in it. There's a few bugs in this particular application, but generally it's working the way I need it to at the moment. And the idea of this is, how do you build tools for your business quickly and efficiently? And this literally, if you thought about it if you took away the live stream, took me about half an hour. If you add in the debugging, took me about 60 to 90 minutes to build this. So today what we're going to do is we are going to, I think we'll just go back to the home page, and we want a prompt that'll go in there to build the sort of application I just described. So let's head here and have a look at a template that I used yesterday. Now, this is a template for a requirements specification. So what are we going to call the name? What's it do? Who's it for? What are the basic features? How should it work? Are there any third-party integrations? What should it look like? And special instructions. Now, I will talk about this for a second. I don't think these worked correctly yesterday. And this is what I'm trying to learn as I use Replit, is what works and what doesn't, because I said to do this, but a lot of the debugging I had to do would have been easier if I actually had console logging, and that's actually what I've asked for here, but it didn't happen. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But what we'll do is we will take this micro app requirements and we'll put it there. And I don't think I was trying to do it in here. No, this is just our template for now. So we'll leave that right there and we'll come over to here. And we'll say, I'm going to give you a template for a requirements document. You must adhere to this template. And the goal is to merge the application summary that you're displaying just above with this template. How strict it is to adhere to the debugging, because when I went to build the application, there wasn't enough debugging information in the console log. So as you build out the template based on this application we're going to build, also consider that point. And we paste it in. So what I'm hoping to do is get this template here merged with this data here, and taking into account that point that I just mentioned. And because I've used Siri, there could be mistakes in here. I don't know that there are. It's always a bit of a hassle, that bit of it, but we'll just pop it in and see what we get. And if this is good, we're going to get a one-shot prompt that we can use in Replit. So the application is the video file namer. Application generates structured file names for video recordings and templates, provides clipboard management, and allows users to automate name. Okay, so there is a mistake. It does not allow file copy. This is a representation that has file names stored in clipboards so that the user can go and change the file name themselves on whatever computer or system they like. Please make sure you make this clear in the requirement document. So before we press enter on that, we'll just see if there's anything else that it got wrong. So if you want to keep your costs down, you need to keep the application quite simple. It may actually be too complex at the moment. I'm still trying to figure out where the sweet point is. And don't introduce stuff that's going to cause you grief, right? I don't want it doing file copying. It's a web application. It can't copy files. So we do that. Organize the following structure to allow users to automate file name generation. It's not copy files and manage metadata efficiently. Content creators, developers, entrepreneurs. Okay, sounds good. Features. Yep, okay. Sequential. There's a next part. So how do we go to the next segment or part in the chapter? How do we go to the next chapter? Metadata handling. Users can append. Yep, great. File tracking means the history, because I may want to go back and change things. I might want to go back and do a new copy, stuff like that. Bulk label upsert. Yep, great. Clipboard integration, manual copy button. So generally, I shouldn't need to use this because hopefully I'm going to use the auto clipboard mode, but you might just want to go back to a previous one and press copy. We should be able to turn off the global copy and bulk handling. What else? Generates file names, appends. None. Great. Press go on this, and I'm not going to reread it out again other than, look at that. Nice. Yeah, beautiful. That's good. Not read. Yep. Okay, cool. Transcript field actions. Now it's got to build UX requirements. I don't want that because I'm using Replit, and whether you're using Replit or V0 or anything like this, they have their view of how to do stuff. If I wanted to do this, I'd have an actual separate workflow just around the UX, and I would use a tool designed for doing UXs. So maybe I'd use V0. I've only used it once, so I don't know, and I don't know the other tools that are out there. But this is an area that I hope to explore in the following 30 days, because building the applications is one aspect, but if you want to get them really right, you want to get a good user experience as well. So I'm just wondering, I can leave that there. There's nothing too specific. It's quite general in its name, and enters a chapter name. Okay, there's a lot of information in here. Okay, great. So what we're going to do is just copy from here all the way through to, do I need that? And we'll head over to here, and we will start building. So I've just pasted everything in, and we click the start building button. Now here's something I didn't know. This is actually too big. Let's bring this down here. Cool. Been playing around with my layouts, and I love Ecamm Live, but sometimes it has challenges, and that obviously got in there at some stage. Right, so what are we doing? Let me propose what we're going to build, and as usual, initial prototype in Shad CN UI. This is some sort of component library for React. Would you like cloud storage, export, import, multiple, and bulk? No, I don't. So I just wanted to go and create this application. So agent encountered an error. I had this yesterday. So, and it gave me a bit of anxiety because I'm in a live stream. I don't need this shit. I do not need this shit. While running, we're investigating the issue. That doesn't help me. I'm in a live stream. Okay, so what we'll do is we will come over here and we will paste it in, and we'll start building. And I may need to end the live stream prematurely, but if I do, I'll do a part 2 where I complete the application. So far, what have we done? We've talked about the challenge that we're trying to solve, and we've gone and created a requirements document. And the good thing about the requirements document, I will talk about that a little bit while we approve this plan, is that it doesn't specify tech stacks or technology. And the reason this is important is because let's get away from that. It's giving me the shits. The reason that's important is that these AI pair programming tools, they like to do it their own way. They make these statements that you can build any sort of application you want because they might be using Claude or OpenAI under the hood. But they put guardrails too to try and steer you in a certain direction because they've done specific training around this. So if you specify a technology like C# or Ruby or I don't know, Tailwind CSS, and they're not doing Tailwind CSS, or Vue.js and they don't really know how to do it, Claude or OpenAI will do a good attempt, but it won't be a great one. So you really got to not specify the technology at the moment. So I think we are stuck. I'm just trying to run this one more time. We'll come back over here and it is broken. So what I'll do is just give a little bit more context in this live stream before we move on. Okay, so GPT, that's the application we're building. One of the things that we talked about here, if we go down to our folder view, which is right here, is that this is a format of files that I use for my AppyDave channel. So I'm just going to bring up AppyDave. So whenever I'm doing a video, most of these take me 20 to 30 hours of work, and I have a video that includes a video editor in the process who does some of the work, and it's really hard, and it's not the way I want to do things. It's just the way it is. And what's really important though is that if I want to cut down on my video editing time, that everything I record is quite correct. And then what I need to do is I need to not just have them sequentially, because I need to maybe go back and change one. And if I don't have a name, that's a bit of a problem. Now, you might not be recording videos that way, and that's where we can go and have a look at other channels. So if we go to AppyDave Research, which we're on right now, now when that one gets recorded, we will only have one file. So the naming conventions for this particular system is totally different. All I've got to do is go and figure out what the project name is and just rename it. So if yesterday's was A3801, then today's will be A3802, and it'll be the video file namer. That's what it's going to be. But then I've also got a faceless YouTube channel, which is going gangbusters at the moment. And this has a different workflow again. Now, why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because when we look at the requirements document that we've been building over here, you do need to change it to be what you need. You got to think about your own workflows and put them in. And now this one is specifically for my AppyDave channel workflow. And if I was to build this application out a little bit further, I would, I might either do multiple micro apps. They're actually easier to do multiple than it is anything else. Now I'm also going to do one other thing while we're here. I'm just going to take a smaller chunk of this. Let's just go over here and just see if we can get one more attempt. We'll just do something simpler. And we're connected, it's thinking. So yeah, if I needed to do one for each of those YouTube channels, that would be generally smarter than trying to make a big app for all these sorts of problems. Like you got problems where agents just aren't working and there's no information to tell you why. So as powerful as these tools are, they are also fragile. That's the right word for them. They're powerful but fragile. A bit like my ego, I guess. What do we got? Build the internal prototype. Started just now. Just joking there, by the way. You know what I'd love to have? When the transcripts are being recorded, ChatGPT tells you how to say something funny but not stupid. That'd be a great goal for me. Wow, we're working. We might be continuing this live stream after all. Now, keep in mind, we're doing it on a reduced instruction set. So maybe that's where the problem was. So I've got the overview, important clarification. I got features and functionality. I didn't go down into this bottom area. We only got to there. So this extra information was not included. None of that was included. Yeah, okay, there's a lot of information not being included, which means stuff like the error handling that I really wanted in the requirements document wasn't there. So here's another thing that I think is interesting and for which I don't have an answer, and that's the question of, is there a custom instruction? If there's a custom instruction that you can run, this is where I would be putting this information, because it's not something I should need to tell it. It's something I want by default every time I build an application. So let's go over to the progress, and what's it saying? Implemented the initial. Okay, cool. It's still resuming. Excellent. Let's just get out of there. So yeah, that error handling stuff, because it's just something I want every time it writes code for me, I need it in a custom instruction. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of research. Now, while the agent is just running, all systems, get help, community help, view updates, read the docs, which I never do. I wonder what the get help does. Hi there, how can we help? Choose an option. Now this is going to talk to the support. What I would love is a quick, maybe we have one, custom instructions. No, that's going to ask the assistant. That's going to do it. No, that's not going to help us. It's a documentation search that I'm actually looking at. So it still says here that the agent is resuming. So why are you stuck? Maybe we can have a look at files. So how does this work? We can open files there. Is it smart to click on this? Oh, that just takes it. Okay, cool. We can go up and have a look. Okay. Created main. Video file namer. 600 by 400. That's the min size. Okay, what do we got next? File name manager. Save the file history to JSON. I would have liked to have used a database. Maybe as it goes through, it will do that. Add to history, file name, chapter, part, label, meta, timestamp. Update the chapter label, old, new, and it's going through all the history entries where the old and turning it to the new. Get the last chapter part. This will be useful when we want to go to the next one. We need to know what the last one is. Then what do we get? A state handler. Generate a file name. What's the next part? We don't have a next chapter. We just say new chapter, which is kind of the same thing. Set the label, set the metadata. Toggle auto clipboard. This is great. What do we got? UI components. So we can just click on these. Great. Why did that take me halfway down the thing? Okay. Main application. File manager, state handler. Cool. It says the agent is still resuming. It seems to be quite stuck here at the moment. New chapter, update label, update metadata, copy to clipboard, toggle auto clipboard, and show status. Okay, what's the latest scroll? It's got Python involved, so it started building a server side to this application. So I think what we can do is do the open files. And let's expand this out while it's going. Okay. So this is the other thing I wasn't expecting, I guess. This went straight into Python mode. It did not do it in React. Okay. File management agent is just stuck. It's just stuck. Let's go. Can I run it? Let's just do run. What's that doing? Now it's failed, but it's not finished. So we'll come back to assistant this time. It appears that the agent is stopped. You as the assistant, can you tell me whether the application has finished building and what do I need to do to get it running? Because I did notice that there is a console error in the cons. Well, that's implied. Okay. Okay, that's cool. Let's run that. Well, we can apply all. Let's see, what's this agent doing? Maybe it's stopped because of that, so we'll come over here. I almost want to come back and do this one more time. We got, oh, look at that. We got an application. Oh, I was in my head, could run it on my local desktop, which is how it's made it available. This is beautiful. Cool. Okay, label. What are we going to do? Let's come back and just call it intro. Now, is that in the clipboard? No, it's not in the clipboard, because if it was, but I don't think it could work from a web application this way. I don't know how I can test this without running it locally. Okay, cool. Auto clipboard, copy to clipboard. Does that work? No, that hasn't done anything. So we'll just say next part. Okay, now we're on, it's named a little bit incorrectly. I didn't see it there, but that's okay. Let's call this chapter timestamps. Cool. And let's go next part. So now we're on part 3 and we will call it overview. So now we've got the intro, which would be like a hook. Then we've got the intro chapter timestamps. Now we've got the intro and we'll call it overview. Great. Now, what we don't have is any list. I cannot see anything going on. But let's go to the next chapter, which should take this to 2, and we should be on number 3. So, we also don't have a save button. Okay. Let's go new chapter. Okay. So we will call it scenario. We're on the scenario part of recording the video, and we do not need metadata in this case. And we go new chapter, and we have, so it's not working. Okay. So the first attempt taught me something. It taught me that firstly, realize that I can do desktop applications if I want to, if I just want to stay in, say, a Python environment. So the things that I'd been seeing so far in Replit were all about little web applications. So that's a cool thing to know. One of the challenges we've had here, so maybe I do need to specify a tech stack, but I need to keep it very simple. I don't need to specify what the technology is other than it's a website or a web application. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to copy everything down to I feel that this is a mistake if I do this, but at least it worked. So I'm just going to go and create a new one. Let's check what our costs are so far. So it was $2.07 at the beginning. And what is it now? $2.39. Okay, so that's okay. So it looks like the 2 failures didn't cost me any money. That's a good thing to know. We'll paste all of this in, and we've had no success. This is the exact prompt that we used right at the beginning of the session. We're coming into it. It's video namer number 3. It's thinking. Sorry, I didn't, did I not have, how long did I not have the web view on? So we got number 3 coming through, Shad CN, approve the plan and start. And it fails again. So it doesn't like this prompt for some reason. So we'll go back to a simpler variation and go as a web application, do the following. I've just pasted everything in, but I've kept it a little bit simpler this time. Not much simpler, just a little bit simpler. I just wanted some of the stuff at the bottom to be removed. I haven't included the special instructions for the pair programmer, being the detailed logging. Let's see if this works. Another thing I've never seen or noticed before, there's this little free statement. So if I remember right, you see the 25 cents when something's happened, and this gives you a short indication of what costs are. I think there's also this one, and it's screwing up every bloody time. I'm not going to say I hate you, Replit, but right now I'm not impressed. Okay. And let's go back to one more example. Home. Build a simple web app to do that. So 1 failed, 2 failed, 3 failed. We had one in the middle that worked using Python, but it had a number of problems. But then I also had a reduced requirements document, so it might not necessarily have understood what it needed to do. No, I don't. Okay, cool. And won't work. Okay, this is the end. This is the end. There's no point continuing the live stream. It just does not work. I will try during the day to get it working and call it part 2 of the live stream once I do. Okay, have a good day, guys. Sorry about those sort of technical problems.